Howdy y'all, and welcome. Hope everybody's doing well out there so far. Welcome to today's special hurricane forecast. First, let's go take a look at how you can prepare by having a checklist up and ready. Now, of course, you don't have to head to ACE if you don't want to. ACE is pretty darn expensive, even during non-inflationary times. And as everybody knows, everything's expensive nowadays, even McDonald's, and we're not loving it. Now, of course, on the checklist, make sure you have the essentials. Make sure you have flashlights, batteries. Make sure you have fresh gas in the generators, propane, fresh water, and some pet food for those pets. Bring those pets with you if you live down there in those hurricane zones, if a hurricane ever strikes. Now, of course, let's go and take a look at whether or not we're going to be in a strong hurricane season or a weak one. Take a look at this. We're going to take a look at the INSO probabilities. This shows us whether or not we're going to be in an El Nino or a La Nina pattern. Now, of course, last month, we were in a neutral pattern, heading out of that strong El Nino pattern that we were in last summer and winter. And we're going to be starting to head into more of a little weaker La Nina pattern this month. We're still going to remain in the neutral pattern though. But it's looking like as we're heading into hurricane season, which starts on June 1st, it's looking like we're going to be heading into a very strong La Nina hurricane season and even a strong La Nina winter, which I will have a winter forecast video up in October. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that, by the way. And y'all are probably confused by now of what the heck's an El Nino and La Nina and how does it affect our weather pattern? Well, first let's take a look at where we get the information at. Well, we get the information over here by the equator of the Pacific Ocean. This is our key monitoring region. El Nino is warmer waters, La Nina is colder waters. And here's an illustration of how that works. As we all know, warm air rises, cold air sinks. Warm air brings a lot of condensation to the upper layers of the atmosphere, and a lot more clouds form, and of course that results in a lot more atmospheric rivers in California and hurricanes, which we had a hurricane last year, which is pretty rare to see a hurricane in California, but y'all did see one, Hurricane Hillary. And of course this resulted in less hurricanes out in the Atlantic and out here by Asia, because we have dry sinking air. Of course La Nina is just the opposite of that. We have cooler waters in the Pacific, drier and condensed air, and out here in the Atlantic and over here by Asia, we have a lot more rising air, which means a lot more condensation in the upper layers of the atmosphere, which means a lot more hurricanes. Now, here's an illustration that breaks this down even further. Typical El Nino influence, more hurricanes because of warmer water out here in the Pacific, less wind shear. Hurricanes don't like wind shear. Wind shear tears these hurricanes apart. And of course, on the Atlantic, we have fewer hurricanes. As I said earlier, wind shear tears hurricanes apart. That's why we didn't have many hurricanes in the Atlantic last year. Of course, La Nina is just the opposite of that. We're expecting a La Nina this year, more hurricanes due to weaker vertical wind shear and trade winds and less atmospheric stability. Definitely going to result in a stronger hurricane season in the Atlantic this year. And of course, in the Pacific, fewer hurricanes due to that stronger vertical wind shear as I talked about earlier. As we can see here, warmer ocean temperatures results in more hurricanes in the Atlantic. And now as we take a look at how many hurricanes they're going to be expecting this year according to AccuWeather, since we're going to be coming into this stronger La Nina, which results in a stronger hurricane season, they're projecting 4 to 7 major hurricanes with 4 to 6 of them causing direct impacts. 8 to 12 hurricanes are expected this year with 20 to 25 named storms, regardless if they're hurricanes or tropical storms. Last year, of course, 19 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 3 of them were major, and 4 direct impacts. Now, of course, that's on par with the average, the 30-year average. On average, we have 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major. And now here are the names for the tropical storms and hurricanes for this year. Now they are these names will be taken and replaced by these names. Now I hope that don't happen, but that is what's projected because we are going to be coming into a very strong La Nina, which means a strong hurricane season. Based on this illustration here, you can see more in depth of how La Nina impacts our hurricane season. And here is the historical La Nina tracks. We can see the coastal states get slammed during a La Nina years from 64 all the way up into 2016. I think we had one in 2020. I did look it up, but I didn't see much information on it. But typically during La Nina, we do have more hurricanes affecting the coastal states compared to how an El Nino affects our coastal states. Now, of course, here are all the areas that are the most directly affected by hurricanes and tropical storms, which is pretty obvious. Now, of course, we have some newcomers that have migrated to Florida and Texas and really much of the coastal states. Y'all really don't know what to do during hurricane season. So let's go ahead and get into that. So basically, if you don't know what to do during hurricane season and you're new to the coastal states, basically you just got to know your risk. Know if you're in a flood prone area, and you got to know where those evacuation zones are in case you have to evacuate. Create a plan. Know what to do before hurricane season strikes. Make sure you create that checklist and bring the pets with you if you do get a hurricane, and make sure you strengthen up that home. And the most important thing, you got to understand forecast information. You got to know the difference between a watch and a warning. A watch basically means that the conditions are favorable, and a warning basically means that the threat is imminent. Now, of course, you can follow me, you can follow Ryan, or you can follow Ponder on Weather. We'll keep you updated on the most up-to-date weather information possible, but your local National Weather Service will be providing you the most up-to-date information for your location. Of course, Ryan Hall and Ponder on Weather will be doing live streams. I might do a live stream this year, I don't know yet. Subscribe down below just in case I do a live stream. And make sure you go follow those guys, as those guys will be doing live streams and keeping you guys informed. Now, of course, you can follow the National Hurricane Center webpage as well for the most up-to-date hurricane information. And also make sure that you get moving when the storm is threatening. Make sure you evacuate. Know your evacuation routes, of course. And if you do evacuate and you want to know what's going on in your area, and you want to know what's going on down at home if your home gets affected by a hurricane, go follow Vince Welty, Brandon Kopic, Corey Gherkin, and Reed Timmer. Those storm chasers will be providing live coverage if a hurricane strikes your area and you want to know what's going on down there. Just go follow those guys. And make sure you please bring those pets with you. That's the most important thing. And make sure that you are staying protected during a hurricane. If a hurricane does strike and you stay behind, make sure you stay protected. Make sure you seek higher ground if you are staying behind. And if you are returning, of course, be careful too. So basically, make sure you stay up to date on the latest hurricane information. Make sure you know what to do. And if you're evacuating, bring pets with you. Follow the storm chasers if you want to know what's going on at home, as they'll provide you live coverage. And if you're returning, make sure you're careful. And so now that we know that it's going to be a pretty strong hurricane season, y'all know what to do during hurricane season and how to prepare. Let's go ahead and take a look at whether or not there is any hurricanes, tropical storms forming out there. Now, as we look at the Atlantic, there is no tropical storm activity. Look at the Pacific. We have a 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation within the next 48 hours. That's pretty interesting. Central Pacific, nothing expected for y'all. So let's go ahead and take a look at this little chance down here. It's not a big chance, but still a chance nonetheless. Now, the National Hurricane Center did show us that a tropical cyclone was imminent down here. 20% chance, pretty small chance. We can see really not much is going to be occurring. Why they issued only 20% chance and not a 50%. But this is what we'll be looking at when tropical cyclones do form. Now, let's go and take a look at the Atlantic Basin. Take a look at the simulated radar, see if there's anything forming out there. Now, it's not looking like much is going to be forming out there. It's looking like we're going to be coming into a soggy pattern for much of the lower 48 though. Now, lastly, let's take a look at the sea surface temperatures. Now, this is in Celsius. As I push this forward, we can see that the sea surface temperatures are really going to start to ramp up as we head into the 21st and into next week. Definitely some prime conditions for hurricane activity as hurricane season starts on June 1st. Now, there was a post that I saw that there was a reading of about 88 degrees sea surface temperatures down here just south of the Panhandle of Florida. So definitely some prime conditions for hurricane activity. And while we're at it, let's go and take a look at the Pacific temperatures. Although we already know that we're going to be in a La Nina year, which means cooler than average sea surface temperatures, as we can see. Cooler than average out here and really cold out there in the California waters. So definitely not much going to go on in the Pacific, but there will be a lot going on this year in the Atlantic. With a strong hurricane season projected this year, make sure you subscribe down below so you can never miss a forecast, and make sure you also like and share the video so more folks are informed about the weather. And if you have any feedback for me, leave it in the comment section down below, as feedback helps provide you the viewer better and more informative content in the future. And also, if you want to know what's going on in your area, if your area gets impacted by hurricanes this season, make sure you follow Brandon Kopic, Vince Welty, Corey Gherkin, and Reed Timmer, as they'll be providing on-the-ground coverage this hurricane season if your area gets impacted by a hurricane. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, appreciate everybody for watching. Stay safe this hurricane season, and never stop forecasting.